Most people believe strategic thinking is about being smarter, faster, or more aggressive than everyone else. But if you've lived long enough, you already know that intelligence alone doesn't protect you from bad decisions. You've seen smart people lose control of their emotions. You've watched capable people sabotage themselves by reacting too quickly, speaking too much, or fighting battles that were never worth fighting. Strategy is not about showing how sharp your mind is. It's about knowing when not to move. Real strategic thinking begins the moment you stop reacting automatically. It begins when you pause long enough to observe what's actually happening beneath the surface. The tone in someone's voice, the pressure in the room, the unspoken motives behind polite words. Most people are too busy defending their ego to notice these things. They rush to respond because silence makes them uncomfortable. But silence is not weakness. Silence is information. If you've ever looked back at a moment in your life and thought, "I should have waited," you already understand strategy on a deep level. Maybe you spoke when you were emotional. Maybe you committed too early. Maybe you trusted too fast or fought too hard. Those moments don't happen because you're incapable. They happen because no one ever taught you how to think calmly under pressure. No one taught you how to slow your mind when everything around you is pushing you to react. Strategic thinkers don't win because they dominate conversations or control people. They win because they control themselves. They see the situation before they become part of it. They understand that timing matters more than force, and clarity matters more than intensity. While others chase quick victories, they protect long-term leverage. While others explain themselves endlessly, they let patterns speak for them. This audiobook is not about manipulation, tricks, or psychological games. It's about developing a way of thinking that keeps you grounded when situations get complex. It's about learning how to read environments, manage your emotions, and make decisions that still make sense days, months, and years later. Strategic thinking is a form of self-respect. It's choosing not to waste your energy on noise and not to hand your power to impulse. You don't need to become colder or detached from life to think strategically. You need to become more aware, more patient, more intentional. When you learn to stay calm while others rush, you begin to see options they never notice. When you stop needing to prove yourself, you gain room to choose your moves with precision. That is how quiet confidence is built. Many people sense this shift is necessary, but they don't yet have language or structure for it. That's why learning to think strategically often feels like finally putting words to instincts you've carried silently for years. In the next chapters, we will explore how strategic thinkers observe before acting, how emotional control becomes an advantage, how to read situations clearly, and how patience can quietly change the outcome of your life. This is not about winning loudly. It's about staying ahead without burning yourself out along the way. If this message resonates with you, so share this video with one person you know who truly needs it right now. Someone who is struggling, overreacting, or feeling stuck, and let this be the beginning of a calmer, more intentional way forward. Chapter 1. Most people react. Strategic thinkers. Observe, most people move through life on reflex. Something happens and they respond immediately. A message arrives and they feel the urge to reply. A comment hits their ego and they defend themselves. A problem appears and they rush to solve it before they fully understand it. Reaction feels productive. It feels decisive. But most of the time, it quietly destroys leverage. Strategic thinkers operate from a different place. They don't rush to be first. They don't confuse speed with intelligence. Their first move is almost always the same. They observe. They watch how people speak, what they avoid, what pressures them, and what they reveal without realizing it. While others are busy reacting, strategic thinkers are collecting information. Reaction gives information away. Observation gathers it. When you react instantly, you expose your emotional state. You reveal what matters to you, what triggers you, and where you're vulnerable. Even silence, when chosen deliberately, says less about you than words spoken under pressure. This is why reactive people often feel like they're always one step behind. They're constantly responding to the world instead of understanding it. Observation is not passive. It's not hesitation or fear. It's active awareness. It's the discipline of staying present long enough to see the full picture before committing yourself to a position. Strategic thinkers understand that once you react, you've entered the game on someone else's terms. Think about how often problems escalate simply because someone spoke too soon. A misunderstanding turns into conflict. A small issue becomes a permanent fracture. Not because the situation was unsolvable, but because someone reacted before they understood what was really happening. Observation prevents unnecessary damage. Most people believe that if they don't respond quickly, they will lose control. In reality, the opposite is true. The person who reacts last often holds the most power. They decide when the conversation moves forward. They decide which battles deserve engagement. They decide what information stays private. Strategic thinkers ask different questions than reactive thinkers. Instead of asking, "How do I respond?" they ask, "What am I seeing?" They look for patterns instead of isolated moments. They pay attention to timing, tone, and context. They notice who speaks first, who interrupts, and who stays quiet. And these details reveal far more than words ever could. Observation also creates emotional distance. When you pause to observe, you give yourself space between stimulus and action. That space is where clarity lives. Without it, emotions take control. With it, choice becomes possible. This doesn't mean strategic thinkers never act. It means they act from understanding rather than impulse. They wait until the situation reveals itself. And situations always do, if you're patient enough to watch. One of the most powerful habits you can develop is learning to delay your response just long enough to see what unfolds next. Often, people will explain themselves if you stay silent. They will expose their intentions if you don't interrupt. They will show you whether a situation is urgent or merely loud. Silence has a way of applying pressure without effort. When you don't react immediately, others fill the space. They talk more, they justify themselves, they show their hand. This is not manipulation, it's simply allowing reality to surface without interference. Reactive thinking is driven by discomfort. Silence feels awkward. Uncertainty feels threatening. Strategic thinking requires you to sit with that discomfort and trust that clarity is worth the wait. This is a skill, and like any skill, it must be trained. A simple practice begins with what you can call the pause before position rule. Before you state your opinion, before you explain yourself, before you commit emotionally or verbally, pause. Ask yourself 3 quiet questions. What is actually happening here? What is being said versus what is being implied? And what happens if I don't respond right now? Most situations do not require immediate action. They only feel urgent because emotion is involved. Strategic thinkers learn to separate urgency from importance. They understand that the loudest moment is rarely the most important one. Over time, observation sharpens your intuition. You begin to sense shifts before they become visible. You notice when energy changes in a room. You feel when a conversation is about to turn. This isn't mystical. It's the result of paying attention instead of reacting. People who react quickly often believe they are being authentic. But authenticity without awareness becomes recklessness. Strategic thinkers are just as honest, but they are selective. They know when honesty helps and when it harms. They understand that timing determines impact. When you observe instead of react, you also protect your energy. You stop wasting attention on things that don't matter. You stop engaging in arguments that lead nowhere. You stop trying to control outcomes that were never yours to control. This chapter is not teaching you to become distant or detached from life. It's teaching you to become deliberate, to move from instinct to intention, to replace reflex with awareness. If you remember only one thing from this chapter, let it be this. The first advantage in any situation is information, and information comes to those who observe before they move. When you react first, you lose leverage. When you observe first, you gain choice. And choice is where strategy begins. Chapter 2. Emotional control is the foundation of strategy. Strategic thinking cannot exist without emotional control. No matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much experience you carry, the moment your emotions take over your decisions, strategy disappears. Most people don't lose because they lack ability. They lose because they act while their emotions are loud, unchecked, and impatient. Emotion itself is not the problem. Emotion is data. Anger tells you a boundary has been crossed. Fear signals potential loss. Excitement points toward opportunity. The danger appears when emotion stops being information and becomes command. When feelings dictate action, impulse replaces judgment. Strategic thinkers draw a clear line here. They allow themselves to feel, but they refuse to be ruled by what they feel. When emotions lead, decisions become short-sighted. Words are spoken with unnecessary force. Promises are made too quickly. Conflicts escalate without purpose. In those moments, people believe they are being decisive or authentic, but in reality, they are exposing themselves. Emotional reactions reveal priorities, insecurities, and pressure points. They make you predictable. And predictability weakens strategic position. Emotional control does not mean suppressing what you feel or pretending not to care. Strategic thinkers are not cold or detached. They are regulated. They understand that emotions are temporary, while consequences are permanent. This awareness creates restraint. And restraint is not weakness, it is discipline. Many bad decisions are not logically wrong, but emotionally rushed. A message sent while irritated, and a confrontation started while pride is wounded. A commitment made out of fear of missing out. Strategic thinkers delay action until emotional intensity settles. They trust that clarity improves with time. They're willing to sit with discomfort to protect long-term outcomes. A calm mind has access to options that a reactive mind cannot see. When emotions spike, attention narrows. You focus on relief, not results. You want the feeling to stop rather than the situation to improve. Strategy requires the opposite mindset. It asks you to endure emotional discomfort so you can choose actions that still make sense later. One quiet advantage of emotional control is how it shifts perception. People instinctively associate calmness with strength. When you remain steady under pressure, others assume you understand more than you reveal, and they listen more carefully. They share more information. They project authority onto composure. Emotional stability creates influence without effort. Strategic thinkers learn to separate three internal processes: feeling, interpretation, and action. Feeling is the raw emotion. Interpretation is the story you tell yourself about that emotion. Action is the behavior that follows. Most people collapse these steps into a single reaction. Strategic thinkers slow the process down. They feel without immediately interpreting. They question the story. Then they choose action deliberately. This separation creates space, and space is where strategy lives. Emotional control also acts as protection against manipulation. People who react emotionally are easy to steer. A comment can provoke them. Silence can pressure them. A delay can rush them into concessions. Strategic thinkers notice when emotions are being used as leverage against them. Instead of responding, they pause and observe what the pressure is trying to force. Calm under pressure is not natural. It is trained. It comes from repeatedly choosing not to react immediately, from letting emotional waves pass without acting on them. Over time, this restraint becomes automatic. You stop feeling compelled to respond instantly because you trust your ability to decide later. Many people fear that emotional control will make them seem weak, passive, or indifferent. In reality, the opposite happens. Controlled emotion signals confidence. It communicates that you are not easily shaken, not easily provoked, and not easily rushed. This alone prevents many conflicts from forming. Strategic thinkers also understand that emotional energy is limited. Every reaction consumes focus, attention, and mental clarity. When you spend emotional energy on minor issues, you have less available for decisions that truly matter. Emotional control is a form of energy management. It ensures that your strongest responses are reserved for moments that deserve them. A simple internal rule helps reinforce this discipline. Never decide at the peak of emotion. Wait until intensity drops. Even a brief pause can dramatically change judgment. What feels urgent in the moment often loses importance with time. Strategic thinkers trust this delay because experience has taught them that emotional urgency is rarely accurate. This principle applies not only to negative emotions, but positive ones as well. Excitement can be just as dangerous as anger. Overconfidence leads to overcommitment. Enthusiasm encourages premature action. Strategic thinkers temper excitement with evaluation. They ask whether an opportunity aligns with long-term direction, not just short-term desire. Without emotional control, strategy becomes unstable. Tactics change with mood. Plans collapse under pressure. With emotional regulation, even simple decisions gain weight and direction. The foundation of strategy is not clever thinking. It is self-governance. As you move forward, remember that the goal is not to eliminate emotion, but to lead it. To feel fully without surrendering authority over your actions. To let clarity, not impulse, decide your next move. When you master emotional control, you stop being pushed by circumstances and start positioning yourself within them. You regain choice, and once choice is restored, strategic thinking becomes not only possible, but natural. Chapter 3. Reading situations. Before making moves, most people believe strategy is about choosing the right action. Strategic thinkers understand something deeper. The same action can succeed or fail entirely, depending on timing, context, and environment. A good move made in the wrong situation is still a mistake. This is why reading situations always comes before making moves. Many failures in life are not caused by lack of ability, intelligence, or effort. They happen because people act without understanding the terrain they are standing on. They focus on what they want to do instead of what the situation allows. Strategic thinkers reverse this instinct. Before they speak or act, they pause to ask one essential question. What is really happening here? Every situation has layers. There is what people say, and there is what they mean. There is what is visible, and there is what is shaping behavior beneath the surface. Power dynamics, emotional pressure, unspoken incentives, fear, urgency, and ego all influence outcomes. Reactive thinkers respond only to what they see. Strategic thinkers read what drives it. One of the most common mistakes people make is assuming that logic alone determines outcomes. They believe that if they are right, the situation will bend in their favor. But reality doesn't work that way. Truth without timing creates resistance. Accuracy without awareness creates conflict. Strategic thinkers respect context as much as correctness. Reading a situation means understanding who holds leverage at this moment. Who needs something more? Who can afford to wait? Who feels pressure to act quickly? And these answers determine how conversations unfold and how decisions land. When you ignore them, you may unknowingly weaken your own position. Pace is one of the clearest indicators in any situation. Pay attention to who is rushing and who is slowing things down. Urgency often reveals vulnerability. People who push for quick resolution usually have more to lose from delay. Strategic thinkers do not mirror urgency, they let it reveal information. Pressure works the same way. As pressure increases, people expose priorities. They speak more than intended. They justify themselves unnecessarily. They attempt to control outcomes prematurely. Strategic thinkers stay calm in these moments. They do not relieve the pressure for others. They allow it to clarify the situation. Power dynamics are rarely obvious, but they are always present. And power does not only come from authority or status. It comes from patience, options, and emotional independence. The person who can walk away without consequence often holds more power than the person who needs immediate resolution. Strategic thinkers are careful not to reveal need too early. Reading situations also means recognizing when not to act. Not every problem requires intervention. Not every silence needs to be filled. Sometimes the most strategic decision is to let events unfold without interference. People often resolve their own conflicts when given space. Acting too early can entangle you in outcomes that were never yours to manage. Emotional temperature is another critical factor. Is the environment tense or open? Defensive or receptive? When emotions are high, logic rarely lands well. Strategic thinkers wait for emotional intensity to settle before introducing clarity. They understand that timing can turn resistance into cooperation. While waiting, they observe. They notice how people behave when they think no one is guiding them. They watch who takes initiative, who avoids responsibility, and who shifts blame. These moments reveal character and intention far more accurately than direct questions ever could. Situational awareness also prevents misinterpretation. When you fail to read context, you personalize behavior that has nothing to do with you. Strategic thinkers avoid this trap. They separate personal feelings from environmental factors. This protects emotional energy and prevents unnecessary conflict. A practical way to read situations is to mentally map 3 elements: power, pressure, and pace. Power shows who influences outcomes. Pressure shows who feels constrained. Pace shows who wants things to move faster. Together, these elements provide a strategic snapshot that guides decision-making. People who lack situational awareness often act from principle alone. While principles matter, strategy requires flexibility. Strategic thinkers do not abandon values, but they adapt expression. They know when to hold firm and when to wait. They understand that rigidity invites resistance. Reading situations improves communication. When you understand context, you choose words that fit the moment. You speak less when silence carries more weight. You speak clearly when ambiguity would cause harm. Communication becomes intentional instead of reactive. Over time, this awareness becomes intuitive. You begin to sense shifts before they are obvious. You feel when something is off. This ability doesn't come from cleverness or manipulation. It comes from consistent observation without emotional attachment. Many people rush because they fear missing opportunities. Strategic thinkers understand that most opportunities improve with patience. Waiting allows information to surface. It allows emotions to cool. It allows hidden dynamics to reveal themselves. Time often strengthens the strategic position of the patient observer. This chapter is about learning to respect reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Strategy is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning actions with conditions. When you read situations accurately, you no longer need to push. The environment begins to work with you instead of against you. Strategic thinking is not constant movement. It is precise movement. And precision begins with understanding where you stand, who you are dealing with, and what the moment truly requires. When you learn to read situations before making moves, you stop guessing, you stop reacting blindly, you stop wasting effort on mistimed actions. You start choosing moves that fit the moment, and that is how real strategic advantage quietly takes shape. Chapter 4. Why strategic thinkers speak less and mean more. Most people believe that influence comes from saying the right things at the right time. Strategic thinkers understand a deeper truth. Influence often comes from saying less, not more. In a world where everyone is eager to explain, defend, and prove themselves, restraint becomes a quiet form of power. Talking feels like control. When you speak, you feel present, you feel involved, you feel seen. Silence, on the other hand, can feel risky. It creates uncertainty. It leaves space for interpretation. That discomfort is exactly why silence works. Strategic thinkers are comfortable with that space, while others rush to fill it. Every word you speak reveals something: your priorities, your emotions, your intentions. The more you talk, the more information you give away. The reactive thinkers speak to relieve tension or assert identity. Strategic thinkers speak only when words serve a purpose. They understand that language is not just expression, it is positioning. Speaking less does not mean saying nothing. It means being intentional. Strategic thinkers choose their words the same way they choose their actions, carefully, deliberately. With awareness of timing and consequence, they don't speak to be liked. They speak to be effective. One reason silence carries weight is because it shifts attention. When you are quiet, people watch you more closely. They project meaning onto your restraint. They wonder what you know. This psychological effect is subtle, but powerful. It creates perceived depth and confidence without effort. Most conflicts escalate because people talk too much. They over-explain, they justify. They defend positions that were never challenged. Strategic thinkers avoid this trap. They let others speak first. They listen for inconsistencies. They allow people to reveal their thinking before responding. Silence also disrupts expectations. When someone anticipates a reaction and doesn't get one, it creates imbalance. That imbalance often leads them to adjust, clarify, or expose more than they intended. Strategic thinkers don't create pressure directly. They let silence do it for them. Many people fear that saying less will make them invisible. In reality, it often does the opposite. When you speak sparingly, your words carry more weight. People remember them. They listen more carefully. They sense intention behind every sentence. Strategic thinkers understand that not every thought deserves to be spoken. Just because something is true doesn't mean it needs to be said right now. Timing determines impact. A well-timed sentence can change an outcome. A poorly timed truth can destroy leverage. This is especially important in emotional situations. When emotions are high, words lose precision. They are easily misinterpreted. Strategic thinkers wait until emotional intensity drops before speaking. They value clarity over immediacy. Speaking less also protects you from unnecessary commitment. Words create expectations. Once spoken, they are hard to retract. Strategic thinkers avoid locking themselves into positions too early. They keep options open by limiting verbal commitments. Another advantage of restraint is that it allows you to listen fully. Most people listen while preparing their next response. Strategic thinkers listen to understand. They notice what is emphasized, what is avoided, and what is repeated. These patterns reveal far more than surface-level statements. When strategic thinkers do speak, they are precise. They don't ramble. They don't decorate their point. They aim for clarity, not volume. This precision signals confidence. It suggests that words have been chosen carefully, not thrown out impulsively. There is also power in letting others underestimate you. People often mistake quietness for lack of insight. Strategic thinkers allow this misconception to exist. It lowers resistance. It creates strategic advantage. When expectations are low, impact feels higher. Silence is also a form of self-control. It prevents emotional leakage. When you speak less, you give emotions time to settle. You reduce the chance of saying something driven by frustration, pride, remorse, or fear. This alone protects many relationships and opportunities. Strategic thinkers don't avoid communication. They avoid unnecessary communication. They understand that influence is not about constant presence. It's about meaningful presence. They choose moments when words can actually change direction. A simple principle guides this approach. Speak only when it adds value. If words don't clarify, align, or advance the situation, silence is often the stronger option. This discipline takes practice. It requires resisting the urge to fill space. Over time, speaking less reshapes how others engage with you. People become more thoughtful around you. Conversations slow down. Assumptions are questioned. This creates a calmer, more deliberate environment where strategy can operate. This chapter is not an invitation to withdraw from the world. It is an invitation to become intentional with your voice, to recognize that silence is not absence, but presence without noise. When you learn to speak less and mean more, you stop reacting verbally to every stimulus. You stop explaining yourself unnecessarily. You stop leaking information through impulse. Your words become tools instead of habits. Strategic thinkers don't dominate conversations. They shape them. And often, the most influential move is not what you say, but what you choose not to say at all. Chapter 5. Thinking long-term. While others chase short-term wins, most people are trained almost unconsciously to value immediate rewards. Fast progress feels safe. Quick results feel like proof that life is moving forward. Ending discomfort now feels better than sitting with uncertainty. But strategic thinkers eventually learn a difficult truth. What feels rewarding in the short term often weakens you in the long term. Long-term thinking is uncomfortable precisely because it asks you to delay relief while others rush toward it. Short-term thinking is driven by emotion. It reacts to pressure, ego, fear of loss, and the need for approval. Long-term thinking is driven by direction. It asks where a decision leads, not how it feels right now. Many strategic thinkers are willing to tolerate temporary discomfort because they understand the hidden cost of emotional gratification. Many people quietly sabotage their future by winning the present moment. They speak up to feel respected, but lose influence. They demand immediate fairness, but give up leverage. They chase validation today and close opportunities tomorrow. Strategic thinkers look past the moment and ask a harder question. What does this decision build over time, and what does it quietly erode? This difference becomes clear during conflict. Reactive thinkers want resolution immediately. They want tension gone. They want to feel right. Strategic thinkers care less about winning the argument and more about preserving position. They understand that not every conflict needs to be resolved now. Some situations improve when you allow time, silence, and perspective to do their work. Long-term thinking requires resisting the urge to prove yourself. The need to prove usually comes from insecurity, not necessity. Strategic thinkers are comfortable being misunderstood temporarily if it protects future outcomes. They don't rush to explain themselves or justify every decision. They trust that consistent results will eventually speak louder than explanations. One of the most dangerous traps of short-term thinking is emotional relief. Saying what you want to say feels freeing. Acting on frustration feels empowering. But relief fades quickly, while consequences last. Strategic thinkers recognize that emotional release often costs strategic position. They delay gratification because they value alignment over impulse. This mindset reshapes how opportunities are evaluated. While others chase every opening, strategic thinkers ask whether an opportunity fits their long-term direction. Not every opportunity deserves attention. Not every invitation leads to growth. Strategic thinkers choose selectively. They focus their energy where it compounds instead of scattering it across short-term gains. Compounding is a long-term principle most people understand intellectually but ignore in practice. Small, disciplined choices repeated consistently create disproportionate outcomes over time. Strategic thinkers invest in habits, skills, and relationships that strengthen with patience. They build systems instead of relying on bursts of motivation. They understand that consistency outperforms intensity. Short-term thinkers often measure success by visibility. See, attention feels like progress. Feedback feels like validation. Strategic thinkers measure success by trajectory. They ask whether life is becoming more stable, more aligned, and more sustainable. Quiet progress may not attract attention immediately, but it endures. Pressure reveals the difference between these two mindsets. When stress rises, short-term thinkers look for quick exits. They compromise too early. They trade leverage for comfort. Strategic thinkers hold position longer. They tolerate uncertainty. They allow situations to mature before committing themselves. Long-term thinking also requires comfort with delayed feedback. You don't always know immediately whether a decision was correct. Strategic thinkers accept this uncertainty. They trust their principles and process instead of chasing reassurance. They understand that some outcomes only become visible with time. Another defining feature of long-term strategy is awareness of trade-offs. Every decision costs something: time, energy, focus, reputation. Short-term thinkers focus on what they gain. Strategic thinkers focus on what they give up. They choose losses deliberately, knowing that saying no protects future capacity. This perspective prevents overextension. Instead of doing everything, strategic thinkers do fewer things well. Instead of reacting to every demand, they prioritize based on direction. Long-term thinking creates boundaries, and boundaries protect focus and clarity. People often confuse patience with passivity. Strategic thinkers know the difference. Patience is active restraint. It is choosing not to act until conditions align. It is staying prepared while others exhaust themselves chasing immediate rewards. Over time, long-term thinking builds internal stability. You stop feeling rushed. You stop feeling pressured to respond instantly. You stop measuring your worth by short-term outcomes. This calm becomes visible. Others sense it. Trust grows. Strategic thinkers also understand that reputation is a long-term asset. Every reaction leaves a trace. Every impulsive decision shapes perception. Long-term thinkers protect their reputation by remaining consistent in values, not emotions. They become reliable, steady, and difficult to provoke. Long-term thinking also changes how you handle setbacks. Short-term thinkers see setbacks as failure. Strategic thinkers see them as part of a longer arc. They adjust without overreacting. They extract lessons without emotional collapse. This resilience compounds over time. This chapter is about expanding your time horizon, about training yourself to look beyond the next moment and into the next phase of your life. Strategy lives in patience, foresight, and restraint. Before major decisions, strategic thinkers ask a simple question: will this still make sense later? If the answer is unclear, waiting is often the strongest move. When you think long-term while others chase short-term wins, you stop competing on speed and start competing on endurance. You stop reacting to noise and start building direction. And over time, direction quietly outperforms urgency. Chapter 6. Strategic Detachment. Not everything deserves your energy. One of the most misunderstood aspects of strategic thinking is detachment. Many people hear the word and assume it means indifference, avoidance, or emotional coldness. In reality, strategic detachment is not about caring less. It is about choosing carefully where your energy goes. Strategic thinkers understand that energy is finite, and wasting it on the wrong things quietly destroys focus, clarity, and long-term advantage. Most people stay emotionally entangled with everything. Every comment feels personal. Every disagreement demands response. Every problem feels urgent. This constant engagement creates exhaustion, not effectiveness. Strategic thinkers operate differently. They recognize that not every situation deserves their attention, and not every challenge deserves their reaction. Detachment begins with awareness. It starts when you realize that reacting to everything gives everything power over you. When you feel obligated to respond, explain, or defend, you are no longer choosing, you are being pulled. Strategic thinkers guard against this. They decide where to engage, and just as importantly, where not to. Many conflicts continue only because someone keeps feeding them. Arguments escalate because both sides feel the need to be heard. Strategic thinkers often end conflicts simply by stepping back. They remove emotional fuel. Without resistance, many issues lose momentum and fade on their own. Detachment does not mean avoiding responsibility. It means separating what matters from what merely demands attention. Non-strategic thinkers ask themselves a quiet question before engaging: does this actually affect my direction, or is it just noise? This distinction changes everything. One of the biggest drains on energy is the need to be understood. Many people exhaust themselves trying to explain their intentions, justify their choices, or correct misunderstandings. Strategic thinkers know that understanding cannot be forced. They accept that some people will misinterpret them, and they let that happen if clarification doesn't change the outcome. This willingness to be misunderstood is a form of strength. It frees you from constant self-defense. It allows you to stay aligned with your priorities instead of chasing approval. Strategic thinkers care more about consistency than consensus. Detachment also protects emotional balance. When you stop taking everything personally, you gain perspective. You see that many reactions have little to do with you and everything to do with the other person's pressure, fear, or insecurity. This realization reduces unnecessary emotional involvement. Another benefit of detachment is clearer decision-making. Emotional entanglement clouds judgment. When you are deeply invested in being right, liked, or validated, it becomes difficult to assess situations objectively. Strategic thinkers create emotional distance so they can see reality more accurately. Detachment also helps with boundary setting. Many people struggle to say no because they fear disappointing others. Strategic thinkers understand that every yes has a cost. They choose commitments carefully. They recognize that protecting time and focus is not selfish. It is strategic. Such a useful internal filter can guide this process. Before engaging, ask yourself 3 questions. Does this truly matter? Will my involvement change the outcome? Does it align with my long-term direction? If the answer is no, detachment is often the wiser choice. Detachment does not eliminate empathy. Strategic thinkers still care deeply. They simply don't confuse empathy with obligation. They can understand someone's emotions without being consumed by them. This balance allows them to remain supportive without losing control. Many people mistake constant availability for reliability. Strategic thinkers know that reliability comes from consistency, not constant responsiveness. By engaging selectively, they ensure that when they do show up, they are present, focused, and effective. Detachment also reduces reactivity. When you stop attaching your identity to every outcome, you stop overreacting to setbacks. Mistakes become information instead of personal failures. Criticism becomes data instead of attack. This emotional steadiness compounds over time. Strategic thinkers also understand that silence can be a form of detachment. Choosing not to respond immediately or at all sends a clear signal about priorities. Silence communicates that your energy is reserved for things that matter more. This approach often surprises people. When you stop engaging in every exchange, others adjust. Some lose interest. Some become more respectful. Some reveal their true intentions. Detachment clarifies relationships. Another powerful aspect of detachment is knowing when to walk away. Not every situation can be improved. Not every relationship can be fixed. Strategic thinkers recognize when continued investment yields diminishing returns. Walking away is not failure, it is conservation. Detachment also supports patience. When you are not emotionally entangled, waiting becomes easier. You're not driven by anxiety or urgency. You allow time to reveal information. You allow situations to evolve. This patience strengthens their strategic position. Importantly, detachment is a skill that improves with practice. At first, not reacting feels uncomfortable. Silence feels awkward. Distance feels risky. Over time, restraint becomes natural. You stop feeling compelled to engage. You trust your judgment. This chapter is not about withdrawing from life. No, it is about engaging deliberately, about choosing depth over constant motion, about protecting your energy so it can be used where it truly matters. When you practice strategic detachment, you regain control over your attention, emotions, and decisions. You stop being pulled in every direction. You move with intention instead of reaction. Not everything deserves your energy. When you accept this truth, clarity increases, stress decreases, and strategy becomes sustainable. Detachment is not disengagement from life. It is mastery over how you participate in it. Chapter 7. Using patience as a strategic weapon. In a world that rewards speed, patience is often misunderstood. It is mistaken for hesitation, fear, or lack of ambition. Most people rush because they believe movement equals progress. Strategic thinkers know better. They understand that patience, when used deliberately, is not weakness. It is leverage. Impatience is emotional. It comes from discomfort with uncertainty, silence, or delayed results. When people feel pressure, they want closure. They want answers. They want relief. Strategic thinkers recognize this impulse and resist it. They know that the person who can wait often controls the direction of events. Patience creates imbalance. When one side rushes and the other remains steady, information flows in only one direction. The impatient side reveals priorities, pressure points, ahs and intentions. The patient observer gains clarity without giving anything away. This asymmetry is powerful. Most mistakes are not caused by lack of ability, but by premature action. People speak before situations stabilize. They commit before conditions are clear. They force decisions because waiting feels uncomfortable. Strategic thinkers delay action not because they are unsure, but because they are disciplined. Patience allows time to do strategic work for you. Emotions cool, perspectives shift, new information surfaces. What seemed urgent often reveals itself as noise. What felt unclear often becomes obvious. Strategic thinkers trust this process. They don't panic when answers don't arrive immediately. Using patience strategically means controlling pace. You don't mirror urgency. You don't rush to match others' timelines. So you move according to your own readiness. This alone shifts power. People who rush often do so because delay costs them. Strategic thinkers notice this and let time apply pressure naturally. Patience also exposes authenticity. When you don't rush people, they reveal who they are. Some grow inconsistent. Some become defensive. Some overshare. Strategic thinkers allow these behaviors to emerge without interruption. They understand that truth surfaces when people are not being guided. Many people fear that waiting will cause them to miss opportunities. Strategic thinkers understand that real opportunities rarely disappear instantly. If something collapses because you didn't act immediately, it was likely fragile or misaligned. Patience filters out what is unstable. Strategic patience also protects you from manipulation. Urgency is one of the most common tools used to force poor decisions. Deadlines, pressure, emotional appeals. Strategic thinkers pause when urgency appears. They ask themselves what the urgency is trying to bypass. Often, it's clarity. Waiting creates emotional distance. When you don't act immediately, emotions lose intensity. This distance allows logic to re-enter the picture. Decisions made after emotion settles are almost always stronger. Strategic thinkers value this delay because it improves judgment. Patience is also essential for long-term positioning. Many advantages are built quietly over time. Reputation, trust, skill, leverage. These things cannot be rushed. Strategic thinkers invest consistently without demanding immediate payoff. They understand that compounding requires time. People often confuse patience with doing nothing, as in reality, strategic patience is active. While waiting, strategic thinkers observe, prepare, and refine. They don't disengage. They stay alert. They remain ready to act when conditions align. Another benefit of patience is control over emotional exposure. When you react quickly, you reveal what matters to you. When you wait, you protect your internal state. Strategic thinkers do not let others dictate when they must feel, respond, or decide. Patience also strengthens credibility. People trust those who are not easily rushed. Calm timing suggests confidence. It implies that you are not desperate for outcomes. This perception alone shifts how others interact with you. There are moments when immediate action is required. Strategic thinkers recognize these moments clearly because they are rare. True urgency is unmistakable. Everything else is noise amplified by emotion. Patience helps you distinguish between the two. Strategic thinkers often win by letting others make mistakes. When people rush, they overextend. They contradict themselves. They reveal weaknesses. By waiting, you allow these errors to surface naturally. Intervention becomes unnecessary. Patience also reduces regret. Many regrets come from acting too soon, saying something that didn't need to be said, choosing something that wasn't fully understood. Strategic thinkers minimize regret by allowing decisions to ripen. Using patience as a weapon does not mean waiting forever. It means waiting intentionally. Knowing why you are waiting. Knowing what you are watching for. Knowing when the moment is right to move. This level of patience requires self-trust. You must trust that you don't need to force outcomes. You must trust that clarity will arrive. Strategic thinkers cultivate this trust through experience and restraint. Over time, patience becomes part of your presence. You stop feeling rushed. You stop absorbing urgency from others. You move at a pace that suits strategy, not emotion. This calm becomes visible. Others sense it and adjust. This chapter is about reclaiming control over time, about refusing to let urgency dictate your decisions, about recognizing that the person who waits often sees what others miss. When you use patience strategically, you stop chasing outcomes and start positioning yourself for them. You allow situations to reveal themselves fully. You move when it matters, not when it's loud. In the end, patience is not about delay. It is about dominance over impulse. And in a reactive world, that dominance quietly separates strategic thinkers from everyone else. Chapter 8. Winning quietly. Let results speak. Most people want their success to be visible. They want recognition, applause, and proof that their efforts matter. Strategic thinkers want something different. They want outcomes that last. They understand that chasing recognition often weakens position, while quiet progress strengthens it. Winning quietly is not about hiding success. It is about letting results speak without unnecessary explanation. In a reactive world, visibility is often mistaken for power. People announce plans before they begin. They broadcast intentions to feel important. They signal moves to gain approval. Strategic thinkers resist this impulse. They understand that the more you talk about what you're doing, the more exposed it becomes. Attention invites interference. Silence protects progress. And winning quietly begins with internal discipline. Strategic thinkers do not rely on external validation to stay motivated. They trust their process enough to work without applause. This self-trust allows them to focus on execution rather than performance. They care more about finishing than being noticed. Many people feel compelled to explain themselves. They want others to understand their choices, motives, and direction. Strategic thinkers know that explanations are rarely necessary. People don't remember intentions, they remember outcomes. When results are consistent, explanations lose relevance. Quiet progress also reduces resistance. When others don't know what you're building, they don't try to stop it. Opinions stay distant. Doubt stays external. Strategic thinkers share selectively, understanding that access is a privilege, as not a requirement. Being underestimated is not a weakness. Strategic thinkers allow it. Underestimation lowers expectations and reduces pressure. It creates space to build without constant scrutiny. When results appear, they carry more weight because they weren't announced. Winning quietly also changes how success is handled. Loud success attracts attention that can destabilize momentum. Strategic thinkers stabilize gains instead of celebrating prematurely. They reinforce systems. They protect what works. They understand that success requires maintenance, not just achievement. Another advantage of quiet winning is emotional stability. When success depends on praise, it becomes fragile. Approval lifts you. Criticism unsettles you. Strategic thinkers anchor motivation internally. They measure success by alignment with values and direction, not applause. This emotional independence allows them to continue even when recognition is absent. Letting results speak also clarifies relationships. When you stop advertising your value, you see who remains interested and who disappears. Strategic thinkers observe this shift carefully. They learn who respects substance over image. These insights guide future alliances. Quiet winning redefines leadership. Strategic thinkers do not lead by dominating conversations or asserting authority loudly. They lead through consistency, reliability, and calm presence. People trust them because outcomes follow their involvement. Influence forms naturally when behavior aligns with results. This approach minimizes conflict. When you don't argue for your position, there's little to attack. Results don't debate. They stand. Strategic thinkers avoid unnecessary friction by allowing reality to demonstrate value. Patience plays a critical role here. After discipline and restraint, many people want acknowledgement. Strategic thinkers resist this urge. They understand that early celebration invites scrutiny before stability is secured. They wait until outcomes are durable before allowing visibility. Quiet winning also requires humility. Strategic thinkers know that success is not permanent. Conditions change. Advantages fade. By staying quiet, they remain alert. They avoid complacency. They stay adaptable. Silence keeps ego from outrunning reality. There is freedom in letting results speak. You stop managing perceptions. You stop explaining decisions that don't require explanation. You stop performing for approval. This freedom reduces mental noise and preserves focus for what truly matters. Strategic thinkers understand that influence grows when values are consistent, but moves are unpredictable. Quiet consistency builds trust. Unannounced execution creates impact. This combination makes you difficult to undermine and impossible to ignore. Over time, quiet winners develop a reputation, not a loud one, but a reliable one. People associate them with follow-through, not promises, with results, not rhetoric. This reputation compounds quietly and steadily. Winning quietly aligns naturally with long-term thinking. It prioritizes durability over spectacle. Strategic thinkers care more about momentum than moments. They don't rush to declare victory. They build positions that are hard to reverse. This chapter is not an argument against visibility. It is an argument for timing. There are moments when visibility serves a strategic purpose. Strategic thinkers choose those moments carefully. They do not confuse exposure with effectiveness. Letting results speak also changes how failure is handled. When identity is not tied to image, setbacks become information rather than threats. Strategic thinkers adjust quickly because ego is not on display. Recovery becomes efficient. Quiet winning requires trust in yourself. Trust that you don't need constant confirmation. Trust that alignment matters more than applause. Trust that those who matter will notice outcomes without explanation. As this journey concludes, remember that strategic thinking is not about domination. It is about positioning. Not about noise, but clarity. Not about being seen, but being effective. When you win quietly, you conserve energy, protect focus, and maintain leverage. You stop arguing for your value and start demonstrating it. Over time, this approach creates a life that feels stable, intentional, and quietly powerful. Let results speak. Let consistency build trust. Let silence protect progress. This is how strategic thinkers finish, not with noise, but with lasting impact. Strategic thinking is not a special talent reserved for a few people. It is a way of moving through life that anyone can learn, but very few commit to practicing. By now, one pattern should be clear. The people who stay ahead are rarely the loudest or the fastest. They are the ones who slow down when others rush, stay calm when emotions rise, and choose their actions with intention instead of impulse. Throughout this audiobook, you've seen how most mistakes are not caused by lack of intelligence or effort. They are caused by reaction, reacting to emotion, reacting to pressure, reacting to urgency that feels real but rarely is. Strategic thinking begins the moment you stop letting the world decide your pace. When you observe instead of react, you gain information. When you control emotion instead of expressing it impulsively, you protect leverage. When you read situations before making moves, you stop wasting energy on mistimed actions. None of these habits feel dramatic, but together they change everything. Strategy is not about manipulation or dominance. It is about self-mastery. It is about recognizing that every word, every reaction, and every commitment costs something. Time, focus, reputation, energy. Strategic thinkers respect these costs. They don't spend carelessly. You've learned that silence can be stronger than explanation, that patience can reveal more than confrontation, that detachment allows clarity where emotional entanglement creates confusion, and that long-term thinking quietly outperforms short-term wins again and again. These principles don't promise quick validation. They offer something more valuable: stability. When you stop chasing immediate relief, your decisions improve. When you stop trying to be understood by everyone, your direction becomes clearer. When you stop reacting to everything, your energy returns. Strategic thinking is not about doing more. It is about doing less, but doing it deliberately. Winning quietly is the natural outcome of this mindset. You stop announcing plans. You stop explaining intentions. You let results speak because they don't need defending. Over time, consistency replaces noise. Reputation replaces persuasion. Trust replaces effort. This way of thinking also reshapes how you experience failure. Setbacks stop feeling like personal judgment. They become feedback. Delays stop triggering panic. They become opportunities to refine. You learn to adjust without emotional collapse. That resilience compounds. Strategic thinking does not remove difficulty from life. It removes unnecessary struggle. It helps you conserve energy for what actually matters. You stop fighting battles that offer no return. You stop engaging in conflicts that drain focus. You start choosing environments, relationships, and commitments that support long-term alignment. As you move forward, remember that strategy lives in small moments. The pause before responding. The decision to wait instead of rush. The choice to stay silent when words would only satisfy ego. These moments are easy to overlook, but they shape your trajectory more than dramatic actions ever will. You don't need to control people to live strategically. You need to control yourself. You don't need to dominate situations. You need to understand them. You don't need to be seen winning to build a powerful life. You need consistency, patience, and discipline. In a world addicted to speed and noise, calm is rare. And rarity creates advantage. When others rush, you observe. When others react, you wait. When others speak, you listen. Over time, this quiet discipline separates you without you having to announce it. Let this audiobook stay with you not as a set of rules, but as a way of seeing. A reminder that you don't have to move just because others do. A reminder that clarity is worth waiting for. A reminder that winning quietly often lasts longer than winning loudly. If this message resonated with you, share this video with someone you care about, someone you know is overwhelmed, reactive, or stuck in constant urgency. And sometimes the most strategic move you can make is helping the right person hear the right words at the right time. Thank you for listening. Stay observant, stay grounded, and remember, the most powerful moves are often the ones made calmly, deliberately, and without noise.